Start again.
Take two. The Seed School of Los Angeles County Board of Directors meeting, February 17th, 2021, 9:05 a.m. Called to order. Woody, do you want to do the roll call and the acknowledgement of the recording?
Yes, let's do that. Does everyone acknowledge to this video being video recorded?
Yes.
And for roll call?
Yes.
Is Ms. Isabella Costa present today?
Present.
Ms. Sarah Ali?
Present.
Ms. Sophia Achadoria? Just yet. Mr. Rod Hamilton, I do believe I see you, sir. Ms. Jackie Kimbrough.
Present.
And I think Ms. Price Lester just joined. And then obviously Ms. Ruth Stafford. So I think we have everyone except for Sophia.
Great. So we'll get, hi, Jennifer.
Hi, present.
So we'll just let's just get moving, since we're a minute behind schedule. No, just kidding. So let's look at the minutes. Minutes have been circulated. We actually have to approve 3 sets of minutes. Let's look at, we'll approve them at the end. We'll just batch them. So the first set of minutes is the Wednesday, October 14th, 2020 minutes for the virtual meeting via Zoom. I'm assuming everyone has had a chance to review those. Please let me know otherwise. And please let us know if there are any corrections, edits. Has anyone come across anything? No? Oh, I'm going out of order, but I guess it doesn't matter. These are the October 14th, 2020 minutes. Okay, so no corrections or additions. We can move on to the October 29th, 2020 minutes. Great. Anyone has any corrections, additions, notes? Easy peasy. Thursday, December, we can move on. Sorry, Woody, I know I'm going fast for your screen share. Thursday, December 31st, 2020. I have a typo, and I don't know if we need to do that here. Instead of, it comes up on page 2. Construction contract agreements, I think it's within the parameters, not perimeters. That's the only thing I caught. Anyone have any other notes?
Would you like a motion, Ruth?
Yeah, sure. We just need the motion, please. Yes, Isabel, thank you.
I pass a motion to approve the 3 minutes as presented for October and December.
Great. Thank you, Sarah. Minutes are approved. Well, that was easy. Okay, so just moving on to the reminders. So Woody, I know, included a link to the form. We need to have this form 700 completed by April 21st. It's not nearly as scary as I thought it was, by the way. I know some of us were like, "Wah!" So it is also, but it is a little confusing in terms of direction, but the form itself gives you pretty clear directions as to how to fill it out. I know, Woody, you were looking into actually who we file it with. I know we ultimately give it to you, but then you were looking to see if you then have to give it to someone else, correct?
Right. And so I think for the time being, everyone just send it to me. I'll collect them, and then as long as we get them in, like I said, my date is April 1st. You're saying April 21st?
Oh, it's probably, yeah, I'm sure you're right.
Fine.
I probably read it wrong. Go
So
ahead.
yes, sooner than later, just submit them to me. You can send them via email, and then I'll make sure to turn them over to the right agency.
Yeah, and when you look at the directions, you'll see there's a lot of exclusions. It's not as encompassing as I originally thought it was. So yeah, just look it over. If you have questions, lob them to us, and there's people we can reach out to. And then the other thing is part of a requisite for being part of this board, and is that you do need to complete some Brown Act training. I think most of us have at this point. So if anyone hasn't, let us know, and we will continue. I know Young Mini does Brown Act trainings regularly through webinars, and we'll continue to forward that information. But if anybody needs any help, getting some Brown Act training, I think almost everyone's done it though. So we just need to be able to acknowledge that if we have to at some point. And then before we move into some of these other items, I just want to acknowledge that I know we have talked about, we do have a bunch of things on this to-do list of ours that we've talked about, including, starting some committees and creating some stake in the ground statements and things to that effect. And I know you guys know all this, that we will get to all of those things. It's just been, the focus has been on some very heavy lifting that this team over here has been undertaking, and it's taken, the focus, and we needed to get all these things completed so we could progress anyway. So just so you know, I know these things we're tracking. I just want everybody to know that. And so unless, I know there's something, should I look in the chat? Oh, okay. Okay, so then I think that's all I need to cover at the moment. And so I can turn this over to Leslie. Hi, Leslie.
You guys, I'm sorry. I'm having utter technology failure, which Woody knows happens at least once a week. Where are we on the agenda?
Yeah, we're
at the management agreement update.
Okay, perfect. And so this is really just an update and a glimpse at a future board meeting. See, look at it. I've got my notes now. Thank you, Ruth. So over the course of the last 3 months, and as we've been working toward closing, there have been a number of agreements that we also have been working to finalize and to execute. And one of those agreements, I think we mentioned this at the last board meeting, is the operations agreement that releases the funding from the county to the school. And so maybe, where is Anita on my screen? And so maybe in December, one of the items that the county we went back and forth around was if in fact the Seed Foundation could be removed from that agreement. And if you all recall, the Seed Foundation was the original entity that actually responded to the RFP and won the right to negotiate with the county, and then was the named organization in that in the county agree to fund Seed for the next 15 years. And because of that, and I think this is what we mentioned, because of that, the Seed Foundation, the county believes, must remain the named grantee of that contract, as to not go back and ask the supervisors to undo what they've done. Everybody following and tracking with me? Okay, great. So that said, right, that then what that means is that the funding will actually flow from the county to the Seed Foundation to the Seed School of Los Angeles. I should also note that this is exactly how it has occurred at all 3 schools in the beginning. The Seed Foundation responded to the RFP. The Seed Foundation won the right to operate the school. And then over time, we just shifted where the money was going, and we shifted the name on that contract. It is just not something, and so it didn't surprise us. So that's sort of where we are. But one of the, but as a follow-up, there's a number of accountability measures that the county is going to require that really belong to the school. And I just want to reduce that accountability, those accountability measures to writing and make an addendum to the management agreement so that the things that the county is saying are required with reporting, with compliance, actually becomes a living document for the school, so that no one at the school has to actually come to the foundation to know what they're being held accountable for. Everyone still tracking with me? Nelora?
Yes.
Great. No, I'm kind of looking at Nelora because she's the expert of all things contracts here. But so that is really, so in March, I think at the March 25th board meeting, we will actually have a larger discussion about what the addendum looks like, but we will actually get you that addendum about 2 weeks before that meeting so that you can both review it, socialize it among yourself within, Brown Act rules and regulations, and then we can have a larger discussion in March. We just wanted to make sure that you knew that it was coming.
And Leslie, just to confirm, there's no penalties for doing such transfer from the county contract to the school to the foundation. There's no type of red tape involved with doing that.
No, I think we're trying to avoid red tape, which is why we're just sort of moving forward with it as it is. Anila, were you getting ready to say something?
No.
Yeah, no, not in this moment. I think the thing I would say is that, I've said this, Nelora and Anita and Woody have heard me say this. It's every time we have opened a school, details that we cared about, like the entities just didn't care about that, right? So like when we first start talking to LACO, they didn't care about our boarding program. And then as we were getting ready to get the charter, all of a sudden they wanted accountability measures for the boarding program. I do think that over time, one of our primary tasks will be to build relationships between the school and the county so that it just makes sense to the county to transfer the owner of all of that relationship to the school. But it happened in Florida, it happened in Maryland, and it happened in DC. And so no, I think the county thinks it's easier. They think it's actually, they don't want to go back to the supervisor to get a change. And we actually don't think that it's necessary. Like there has never been a case where we didn't transfer the funds to the schools as required. And there's never been a case, and actually the schools will manage the compliance themselves. I just want to document it. Anita, anything I left out there? So stay tuned.
Great. Thank you. So then we can move on. The next item is funding update, not finance update, funding update. And I have the Seed LA team discussing.
You know what, Anita and Rebecca and Woody, and I don't know that we have much of an update. I think with the exception of one gift, we have actually received the lion's share of all pledges. Rebecca, am I right there? I think I'm right. I think that
you are right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so most of our efforts over the last 3 months have been to bring those dollars in so that when we needed them for closing, that they were available. And I think as we have started to get closer to a clear date about when we will close financing the final gift, I'm sure Anita will be reaching out to, I can't think of the acronym, DAT or,
The National Philanthropic
Yeah.
Trust or something like that.
to give them notice that we are actually going to be trying to access that final gift or that gift.
Mhm.
And just as a heads up, as soon as we close financing, we will pivot to fundraising for programmatic reasons and for programmatic fundraising for operations and for ramp up.
Which, unless there are questions related to this funding update, this might be the perfect segue to the finance update.
I can start if you want. Does that make sense? Okay. So I think where we left you off before was that getting all the funding partners, the capital partners, comfortable with this CEQA lawsuit that was filed by Eli Sassoon to the city related to street vacation. And even though we did not think, and there was no evidence at all based on the lawyers that were hired, that there would be a stoppage of construction related to this lawsuit, it was very difficult. It took a couple months almost to get all the lawyers and everybody comfortable with this kind of unknown thing that they had to put. One thing that helped is that XED put up its back end fee as a reserve in case there was any kind of work stoppage, but that the mortgage could continue to be paid. The very good news, and I feel like I could really breathe, was really in the last week or two, everybody got comfortable with the going ahead and closing the financing. Chase had suggested a kind of different methodology, and which is kind of putting it in stages, but it all works. And yesterday there was two very positive calls. One is on Mondays, typically on Mondays, this one was moved to Tuesday because of the holiday. We have this call literally with 40 people on it, just to give you a sense. It's mainly lawyers, but it's easily 10 organizations or more and a lot of lawyers. And there's over 300 numbered checklist of items that have to go into closing. So just to understand the complexity of this. But all of that moved. And Leslie and I wrote an email to all of these partners on Friday saying we wanted a closing date of March 12th. So we needed everybody to really push to a goal. And there is natural resistance because you're used to doing it the way they do it, which is on a slower pace. So we really pushed for a faster pace. I think what we got from everybody was a commitment to close definitely by the end of March, not necessarily March 12th, but I think it helped. And then, so everybody's on track and people were moving and documents beginning and hopefully first draft of documents. So all of that is really positive, and so all of that is good. I'll let it be there and answer any questions.
That is great news. That is really great to hear.
It is.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions related to that?
Oh, come on, ask questions.
Right.
And Anita and Laura are taking turns not sleeping. So come on, ask some questions.
No.
Me, on the other hand, I'm cooking my way through this.
Well, if the faster we go through this stuff, the sooner you guys can take a nap and listen to you.
That's true. Well, that like anything, there are 100 things to work out, but I think the best was that we got a real commitment. On top of that, Laura and I spoke to a key senior person at Chase yesterday, along with the project, the key person related to this project, and got their commitment to move it. And that was because Laura had a relationship with her, and so all of that just really helped. And so I'm they're all daily. There are things to be worked out, but nothing that I think will stop it. I think we got a big commitment to do so.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, so then if there are not any other questions, we can move into the construction update.
I'll give that. So the utility work, as you know, started in October, and the contractor is probably 95% complete with his work, and DWP has to come in, Spectrum, and after him and do their piece of the work. But that work should be finished at the end of March, beginning of April. So we're happy about that, that's moved along. We execute, since the board last met, we have executed the contract with the general contractor for $67 million. And there is some add alternative, which is the garden and the offsite work to that contract as well. We're getting a little nervous about the timing because it's been almost 90 days, and he's concerned about holding the price because, you know, people get nervous when they bid and you don't go right away. And also just the cost of materials. So rebar is expensive given the pandemic. So that's another reason why we need to go ahead and get this party started. But we've been doing what we can to kind of queue them up so that they can get started. And the two key things that are coming up is that we have a meeting with Metro next Wednesday about the PLA requirements so that they're ready to go and know what their responsibility is with reporting. And then on March 3rd, the job coordinator, PDA, is going to have a job fair. It's going to be modified since we thought we were going to start when she scheduled it for March. You know, we thought we'd be closer to starting construction. So we're going to do a part 1 and a part 2 because they wanted to cancel it. And I said, no, we got to keep going. We can't just keep canceling it. So there is information that they can convey to the community about how to get connected. You know, if you're already skilled, how you can get connected. And then if you're not skilled, kind of what, you know, there'd be workforce entities there that we can refer you to that can help you get yourself prepared to be connected for some of the later phases of the project. So that's going to happen on the 3rd, and then we'll come back towards the end of April, not the end of April, yeah, beginning of April, after we've closed the loan, and do another one where the subcontractors will actually be there and people can go to breakout rooms. This will be a virtual job fair and talk to contractors directly about opportunities. So I think that's it with regards to construction.
And we can get them there was a draft flyer, but is it?
Yeah, we'll get they had to tweak it a little bit when they changed the structure of it. So I'll talk to them today. It's because I was trying to get it out Wednesday.
Laura, you mentioned the PLA requirement with Metro. What is that?
So
say the project labor agreement.
It's a project labor agreement, and so it requires, you know, contracting with the unions. And if the union, you know, for every 5 you get from the union, you can get 1 from somewhere else. And then it has a 30%, 40% local hire, which the county has 30%, but we're bound by the one that's the most restrictive, including a 20% apprenticeship local hire. So they have to document, and it's not bodies, it's hours.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
And just to make sure it wasn't confusing, that the consulting firm's name is PDA, right?
Yes.
Okay, just that those get confused. PLA is
Oh,
the project
PLA,
labor
PDA.
agreement, and
Yeah.
PDA is just the name of the consulting firm, right?
Right. I don't know. Yeah, the owner's name is Pamela Penn. I don't know if it's related to her name or what. But they just go by PDA.
Just one thing I might want to add is when Leslie and I did a call with the supervisor, Holly Mitchell, on that call, they mentioned that Bernard Construction was working on King Hospital and what a great job they had done. and that they had exceeded the goals. I think the goals for both local hiring and minority subcontractors. So a positive statement on Bernard's that I didn't know about.
Great. Any questions? Right on. So we have in our agenda, we have a break, but we are moving so fast and furious that it might be nice to just continue on unless there's a major objection. Nope, we're good, right? All right, let's just keep moving forward. All right, so the next item then is the head of school search update, which is exciting.
So I'll speak to that a little bit. If well, obviously Ruth and Leslie's chairs, you go free to chime in or correct me. But as I think since we've last met, the head of school obviously position has been posted publicly. I think that went out on December 7th. It's been on a bunch of kind of job posting sites, both nationally and locally in Los Angeles. It's garnered about 7,500 views across those platforms. So it's definitely being received and visible posting out there. We've got about 200 applications so far, I guess to date, and about 2/3 of those identify as some type of underserved or under-resourced minority or BIPOC. We narrowed it down, I say we, being the search committee, narrowed it down to 6 semi-finalists, and we are excited now to be at the finalist phase where we have 3 outstanding finalist candidates that the search committee will be continuing to evaluate. The finalist interviews are taking place next Wednesday. Most of you, or all of you, should have received some type of communication from Agility, myself or Hopi Moody, putting you on one of the panels, as we talked about before. We're going to put them through a panel interviews. We'll be talking with the community, we'll talk with the board, we'll talk with cornerstone donors, and essentially all of the major stakeholders that are taking place in making CLA a reality. And so then the next part of that process will be after the finalist interviews, Agility, the search firm, will do all their magic and synthesize all that data. The search committee will then review that and then make a recommendation for the broader board to decide upon. Now, there are some logistics and I think process things as it relates to California of how that needs to happen. I think it's the California Nonprofit Integrity Act. So the board will have to approve that compensation and make sure that it's just and reasonable. So we'll have them essentially kind of provide some comparisons and comps that'll just kind of make sure things are kind of in the right range. And then in closed session, the board can make that hiring decision and then discuss those kind of terms amongst themselves. Then they go back into open session and they'll announce their decision for who will be the founding head of school for CLA. Those comps that we'll talk about, those will all be kind of reported out in open session again, just to kind of provide some context and just to juxtapose our offer package. And then we'll pass a formal resolution in the open session, finding that compensation package is reasonable based on those comps. And then in the formal agenda, and this will probably take place at the March 4th meeting. Essentially, that resolution will pass that they have approved the search committee's recommendation for the head of school. And at that point, we'll have a head of school.
Hey, Woody, can I actually insert something into the process? So the stakeholder interviews that take place in this coming a week from
next Wednesday, a week from today, yeah.
Yeah, a week from today. It's just like Agility will synthesize that feedback, but we're not asking people to pick. Right. I think it's just,
yes,
right. We're not asking people to say, I want this person. It is really a solicitation of information and feedback. That step from stakeholders, that synthesizing goes back to the search committee. The search committee will have an additional interview with either the 3 or 2 of the finalists, the 2 of the 3 finalists. And I just want to make sure I sort of say that there is another step there. There is a step that we typically would do that obviously we're not actually able to do, which I am going down like swinging because this is important. And but I'm starting to agree that it's not possible. So typically wherever the finalists come from, we would actually go visit their school, their organization, their community, because we believe it is important to see them in their element, and it's important to see how they interact with people. And so we've done it with candidates who were, regional directors. We've done it with candidates who were school leaders. We've done it with candidates who were, CEO of the Boys and Girls Club, right? And we actually shadowed them and we met with their leadership team, all under the guise of, exploring something, but not them as a candidate. And I don't know that we've answered the question yet, like, what do we do to compensate for this data point? So I will say that we're continuing to sort of unpack that. Because I don't know that I, Leslie, have completely given up on the need to have some kind of lens into their current communities. I think that's it. And I think the only other thing I would say is that at some point, the recommendation from the search committee will go in front of the Seed Foundation board. And so I think part of just as a process, you can imagine that we think that that foundation thinks that this hire is key to the implementation of the model with Fidelity, and therefore want to make sure not that the foundation board has the decision, but they actually understand who the candidate is as the decision is being made. That's
Leslie, has Agility offered any virtual alternative to what you described? Is there a way to drop in on a candidate Zoom, or how might it work?
Yeah, you know what, Sarah, I think that Woody and Hopi and Agility are thinking of scenarios because they know. Yeah, yes, I think that they are thinking through that even as we speak. And I think we'll have a conversation about it this Thursday, or no, well, tomorrow, sorry. I don't know what day it is. All right. So yes, Sarah, yes. I think they are thinking through that.
Yeah, that's accurate. There have been some discussions about how to substitute those things. A lot of that is say intangible, but those interactions that you get on the walk from the elevator to the conference room, when you're sitting down having lunch, just those kind of they're somewhat difficult to reenact in this kind of virtual environment, but we are still trying to think through, one, what is it that we're trying to extract from those in-person interactions, and then how can we then substitute that in kind of this virtual environment? Also taking into consideration that not every candidate is in the same environment, so you can't kind of follow the same playbook as everyone else. So no, but that is something that we're trying to figure out though. I think that's it for the head of school search update, unless anyone has any other questions, or Ruth or Leslie would like to share anything else. All right.
Oh, Jackie had a question. Hang on.
Yes, I'm sorry. Thank you. Woody, when did you say we could expect the information from Agility?
You should have received it already. So if you have not, then that's problematic.
I didn't see it this morning, but I'll check again. I didn't
Okay.
see it before the call. Okay. Thanks.
It's from Ron
Rapatello.
Rapatello.
Oh, yeah, I remember him. Okay. I don't remember seeing that today.
Has anyone else
yesterday.
received?
I have, but I don't know if others, the board members.
Yeah.
Is the information going to the search committee or the board as a whole?
Yeah, that's why I'm nervous whether it may have just gone to the search committee. Or
No,
no?
it actually should be going. Now, Hopi and Woody have actually built out each stakeholder group, and each stakeholder group should actually have received at least a hold on your calendar.
There should be separate communications going out to each group that will have specific questions and your specific timing and calendar invite. All that should have been out
Check your junk and spam folders just to be safe.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
because the one that I have is LA finalists interview materials, so that might just be for the search committee.
Right.
No, there should be separate calendar holds and
Right.
information just for the actual.
Okay.
I'm actually looking at who it's sent to, and
I'll look.
Jackie is not on it. So let's
No.
so
Okay.
I can see who it's sent to, and
Am I on it?
Anita, she wouldn't be on your group. You're not in Jackie's group. So,
Oh,
so
Okay.
let me check, because it is a specifically,
because this one is
Target-
Sophia and Isabel on it. So that's why I'm the one that I have.
I don't
Okay.
think,
let me just,
I don't
Ron,
have it.
let me
I don't
just check. Let me check,
Okay.
and I will check, but I will say, like, not being on everybody's is actually okay. Because Anita, you're not in anyone else's group, and therefore shouldn't get the hold for anyone else, except for the group that you are a part of. But let me just check.
Okay.
And I saw it was a question about the search committee. The search committee is co-chaired by Leslie and Ruth. Anita's also on there, and as well as Sophia and Isabel.
Yeah.
Right, but then what Leslie was saying is there's separate stakeholder groups that include
Yes.
you guys, and you should have gotten a separate email, separate calendar hold. So Leslie's gonna follow up and make sure. I muted myself halfway through, sorry.
It's okay. It's a pen.
So I know we were working the final schedule just yesterday. So I saw emails coming out from Ron as late as 9 o'clock last night Eastern. So I'm assuming, I'm hoping.
Okay,
If you haven't got them, I don't know, but it looks like Leslie's gonna confirm some.
great. Well, any other questions, thoughts? Anything you want to share? All right, well, look at that. Wow. Good work, everybody.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to add one quick thing, which is just a heads up that as we're closing there, I think the next meeting is, what did you say, March 25th or something? My hope.
One March 4th and another one March 25th.
Oh, okay. All right. So my hope is that by March 4th, there may be some documents for you to approve. That's just a heads up that in this closing process, there's likely to be documents and things to approve. And I don't know whether March 4th they can be done, but we'll try.
okay.
All right, well, thank you, everyone. Unless there are any other questions, I think we can adjourn this meeting at 9:42 a.m.
Wonderful. Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Bye-bye.
All
Bye,
soon.
everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, take care,
Thank
everyone.
you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Shout
Bye.
out to our family and